system you are using?
Sir?
Windows 11, Windows 11 or 10?
11, sir.
So yeah, so ask that who has been installed the SaaS software. Ask them to connect SaaS and Oracle. There is a way that somebody has to do from IT department should connect both. Okay. So what is the version that you guys are using Oracle?
11G, sir.
11G, sir.
11,
11G.
sir.
Maybe that's the problem. Did you try the same thing in server? Anybody
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I also tried.
in the server could be able to do it?
No, sir. I have tried in my laptop only, sir. I'm not able to do it in.
Here also, it is not properly connected. In instances in some of the system, there is a proper connection between SAS and SQL. I think you'll get that one. Can you say a connection to the Oracle database is not currently supported? So that means there is no proper connection between these two. Because of that, we couldn't able to import the data from the database. If you have a proper connection, by writing this program, definitely you'll get the data. Understand this one? Okay. In the last class, we have completed with the history and the basic rules of SAS. So from today onwards, we are going to start with the data step. And I told you, in SAS, we have two programming steps. If you start our program with the keyword of data, we call it as a data step. If you start our program with the keyword of proc, we call it as a proc step. So if you start our program with the keyword of data step. If you start our program with the keyword of proc, it is called as a proc step. And in today's class, the next 2 months, we are going to discuss about the data step. Okay. What is the data step? As I said, if you start a program with the keyword of data, we call it as a data step. Remember, I told you what is the important purpose of the data step, why we read the data step? And I told you, we read the data step for two important reasons. One is for data access, and the second one is for data management. So data step is not only for the data access and management. We use the data step to retrieve the data We use a technical word retrieving the data from the database. So in SQL, you might have used this keyword. What you mean by retrieving the data, pulling the data, and getting the data from its source location into the current environment is called retrieval, data retrieval. So we use the data step in SAS to retrieve the data. And not only that one, to create, okay, new data sets. To create new data sets, we use the data step. And not only that one, to create new variables, and assign values to it, values to those variables, we use data step. And not only that one, we use a data step to manipulate the data, to reshape the data, and we use data step to transform the data, we use data step to manipulate, to reshape, to transform the data, and to process the data. We use data step. And sometimes to generate reports, we use data step. So these are the important reasons why we use data step in the real time. To access the data, to manage the data, to retrieve the data, to create new data sets, to create new variables and assign values to it, to manipulate, to reshape, to transform, to process the data, and to generate the reports, we use data step. We use data step. And what are the statements we can find in a typical data step? Now, so for example, I'm taking few lines of in-stream data. I'm writing, so for example, 101, name ABC, age 23, gender male, and salary 40,000. Then 102, DEF 25, female 50,000. 103, KLM 27 or 26, male 70,000. 104, XYZ 28, female 90,000. I have 4 lines of data. I want to create a data set. I want to create a data set. Tell me what is the statement that you will write? Data, data set name,
Data
Asset name,
in file,
data lines,
data lines or cards.
or cards.
Then you will write input.
Variable
I want to have ID,
name,
name, dollar symbol,
dollar
age,
symbol, age,
text,
salary.
dollar
salary,
symbol,
symbol,
salary,
salary,
Data line,
then
data
I will
line,
write the data line, and finally,
run.
we should write run.
semicolon.
It is a typical data step. Now, can you tell me how many statements we have in this program?
5 statements.
We
5.
have 5 statements. How do you know that we have 5 statements?
5
5
semicolon.
5
counting
We have no
items.
5 semicolon. So data DS1 semicolon. This is one statement. In file data lines, this is the second statement. Input variable name, this is the third statement. Data line semicolon, fourth statement. And run semicolon, fifth statement. So in a typical data step, we have 5 statements. So the whole program is called what? The whole program is called data step. In this data step, we have 5 statements. And what is the first statement? Each statement is going to have a name. The first statement is called data statement. So this is called data statement. And the second statement is called in file statement because we are starting with a keyword called in file. That's why, which is called as an in file statement. And the third statement is called input statement. So now I am writing this is called input statement. And what is the fourth statement is called now? The fourth statement is called data lines statements. So this is called data lines. And after that, finally we have a fifth statement. And what is the fifth statement that we have? The fifth
Run
statement is
statement.
called run statement. So a typical data step, this is called a data step. A typical data step has got 5 statements, and these are the 5 statements. Data statement, in file statement, input
Input
statement, data
data.
run statement, and run statement. Okay. Now, the next few classes, we are going to discuss about these statements. And what is the first statement that we have?
Data statement.
In today's class, we are going to start discussing about data statement. Okay. What is this data statement? You know, the data statement is always the first statement of the data step. If you think this entire program is a data step, in this data step, always what is the first statement we are going to have? The first statement is going to be the data statement. So we can say a data step begins with data step data statement. Now, after that, now can you tell me by seeing this program, what is the purpose of data statement? What you can get this one? What you can understand why we are writing a data statement?
Create name.
Give the name of the
Give the
data.
name of data.
To give data set name, to give output data set a name. Okay. Now data I have given the DS1. Now what is going to happen now in the work library? It will create a data set called DS1. Okay. Now instead of DS1, if I write the demo, then what will happen now? It will create a data set called demo.
Demo.
Okay. If I give, say, for example, data, say, for example, EMP or a salary or something else, whatever the name that I have given, with that name, it will create a data set. So now tell me what the purpose of data statement. The main purpose of the data statement is to give output data set a name. So whatever the name that you have given, with that name, it will create a data set. Just imagine what will happen if you didn't give a name at all. If you didn't give a name at all, what is going to happen? It will create its own data set now. Now see, can you see what is the data set that we got? Data one. If I execute the same program again second time, what is going to happen? It will create a new data set. Every time when I execute the program, every time it is going to create a new data set called data 1, data 2, data 3. In this way, it will create up to data n. But if I specify, say, for example, data, if I specify X, what is going to happen now? If I execute this program, it will create a data set called X. So data statement is useful to specify a data set name. That is the major important reason why we use data statement. Understand this one? Now, depends upon our requirement. In the data statement, after the data set name, we write a few options. In which statement we are writing these options?
Data statement.
Data statement.
That's why these options are called data statement options. Okay, these options are called data statement options, or otherwise, since I am writing these options after the data set name, and these are also called as a data set options. Data statement options or data set options. And what are those options? Now we are going to see this one. Now, by the way, now can you please tell me, when I'm executing this program, in the data statement, I have given a data set called DS1. Okay, I'm writing a data set name DS1. So now tell me, if I execute this program, what is the data set I'm going to have? DS1, right? How many variables I'm going to have in the data set? How many variables I'm going to have?
5.
5.
5 variables. Because in the input statement, we have given 5 variable names. We'll get all the 5 variables. How many observations we are going to have? We are going to have 4.
4 observations.
I do not want to have all the 5 variables in the DS1 dataset. I want to have only ID, name, and salary. Now, what I'm going to do in the data statement, after the dataset name, I am going to write an option now. Now, remember, if you want to write any option in the data statement, you should always write that option within the parenthesis. Remember, generally we call it as in a brackets. You should not call it as in the technical word for the bracket is parenthesis. Okay. You should give